Some places are old before men ever walked them. Some stories began long before the first campfires glowed against red stone walls. Stories of something ancient, something hungry, watching from the hills. This is the tale of 6 gold prospectors who ventured west in 1892, and how only one returned, broken in mind and spirit, whispering of a creature no man should ever see. In the desert hills west of Las Vegas, where the sun bakes the cliffs into embers and the night air cuts like glass, there lies a place the old prospectors wouldn't camp. Even in the fevered rush for gold, they knew enough to leave it alone. Today we call it Red Rock National Conservation Area. But to those who came here 130 years ago, it was simply cursed. It was the winter of 1893 when 6 men struck out from a mining camp near the spot we now call Searchlight. Their names are mostly lost to time, but a few survived long enough to tell what they saw. Among them was a Civil War veteran named Eli Barrett, a man who claimed no living thing could scare him. Another was a young drifter, Samuel Pike, who carried more debt than good sense. With them traveled a doctor, a claim jumper, a grizzled prospector named Harlan Fitch, and a quiet man no one knew much about, only that he'd come west to vanish. They believed the hills near Red Rock hid a rich vein of free milling gold. They were right, but the price was far more than any of them expected. Six left camp before dawn, their mules loaded with dynamite, picks, and sacks of flour and beans. The trail took them through dry washes choked with mesquite and up rocky defiles where the walls pressed close on either side. By dusk on the second day, they reached a shallow canyon cut into a ridge of pink sandstone. It seemed a good place to make camp. Water seeped from a spring, and the walls offered shelter from the wind. No one spoke of the legends then, but old Harlan Fitch knew them. He'd heard stories from the Paiute, tales of something that came down from the cliffs when men grew too bold. That night, as the wind moaned through the narrow pass, the men laid their bedrolls close to the fire, each pretending not to listen for footsteps among the rocks. On the second night, the quiet man, whose name was never recorded, woke Eli Barrett with a trembling hand on his shoulder. "There's something out there," he whispered. Eli strained his ears. At first there was nothing but the hiss of wind. Then, just on the edge of hearing, a soft scrape, like claws over stone. They lit lanterns and searched the camp's perimeter. No sign of an intruder. But in the morning, the drifter, Pike, found massive tracks near the spring. 5 toes, splayed wide, each longer than a man's hand. Fitch spat into the dust. "Oh, the old people," he muttered. "This is their ground." That day the men worked the vein of quartz, pretending nothing was wrong. But when night came again, none could sleep. On the third night, the doctor sat up by the fire. Scribbling in his journal, he wrote, "I have never felt such dread. It is as if something unseen watches, waiting for the hour when we are weakest. Just before dawn, the mules began to bray and pull at their tethers. A rank smell filled the air, rotting meat left too long in the sun. Then they saw it. Atop the ridge stood a figure, thick as two men, its arms thick as barrels, and in the lantern light its skin looked gray and cracked. Its eyes glowed a bright yellow-orange hue. No one spoke, no one moved. Then the creature lifted its head and let out a cry that turned their bones to water, like a man screaming into an empty well. Panic broke the spell. Pike snatched a rifle and fired blindly at the ridge. The shot cracked the dawn's silence. The figure vanished. In the chaos, one of the mules tore free and bolted into the dark. The quiet man ran after it and never came back. They waited for sunrise, rifles clutched in trembling hands. When light came at last, they searched the ridge. No sign of the thing, but they found the quiet man's hat soaked in blood. That evening, Fitch demanded they pack up and leave. Eli Barrett refused. "If we go now," he said, "we lose the claim." But before night fell again, the doctor had disappeared too, vanished between one heartbeat and the next. By morning, the survivors no longer cared about gold. They left their tools, their tents, even their mules. Stumbling east they walked until their legs gave out, then crawled, certain the thing was behind them. When they finally reached the mining camp, their story spread like wildfire. Some called them liars, others said they'd gone mad from sun and greed. In the months that followed, no one returned to that canyon, but the legend took root. Locals called it the Red Rock Revenant, the thing that comes for those who dig too deep. Today, hikers wander the same hills where the 6 prospectors camped. Most see nothing but beauty, towering cliffs, hidden springs, the hush of ancient stone. But a few have reported something else. At night, pale eyes glinting from the ridges, footsteps in the gravel behind them, a cold wind carrying a smell they can't describe. I've walked those trails myself. If you ever find yourself near Red Rock at sundown, listen carefully. You might hear the Revenant calling you by name, and if you do, don't look up. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the forgotten corners of the Nevada desert. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe and share. And remember, some legends are only forgotten because no one survives to tell them twice.